Hey, Mike Hill, the Wholesaling Titan here, and in today's video, I'm going to answer probably the most common question I get, and that's, Mike, how can I do a deal with no money? I have absolutely nothing. How can I do a deal? And I think what attracts a lot of people to this business is the fact that you can do this business, you can do very well, and start doing deals with very little or no money. And truly, my very first wholesale deal I did without a cent into the deal at all, like literally no money down whatsoever. And then the other part of this deal that people find attractive is that you can outsource and automate a lot of it. But I want you to understand, like, that's a process. So it's not like, okay, you have no money and then you just don't do shit. You send it all to a VA and then somehow you're just, rolling the bucks, and it's just not how it works. So in the beginning, you do have to put some effort in. Like, surprise, you do have to work this and work very hard. It's like kind of the whole analogy of riding a bicycle up a hill. It takes a lot of effort. It's very hard going up, and then you hit a certain point, and then you can kind of cruise on the whole way down. But anyway, in this video, I want to show you live like how you can go ahead and do this for free, or how you can do a deal with no money. But I really want to stress, like, the thing that I don't like, and it's not that I don't like it, but the thing that's not helpful for the people that ask me these questions is that they come a lot of times from this frame of uh, like victimization. Like it's just a very whiny feel. I can't really describe it. But if you see the emails or the messages or even hear some of the voicemails and stuff, it's like, oh, I have nothing. Like, what can? And it's just very victim mentality. And I would say to you, like, okay, you don't have money. Like, big deal. Like, accept it and then move on. Like, um, you can't just focus on the problem. Like, don't focus on what you don't have. Focus on what you do have. And I tell people too, a lot of times you're going to spend a form of currency, right? So if you don't have money, you're going to spend time. It's going to take more time to do this. If you have money, it'll take less time. It's that inverse relationship, but you're going to spend one of the two. So the technique I'm going to show you today, we'll get to in just a second. It is a little, it takes some time, right? But if you don't have money, you don't have many choices. So focus not again on what you don't have. Focus on what you do have, right? Also, just people asking about my first deal. What I did is actually I got on every wholesaler's list that was doing deals in my market, and I called them, and I called them aggressively. And I was like, look, I'm new in the game. Like, I want to help you out, blah, blah, blah. Sold myself a little bit. I've got access to some cash buyers. I've been attending some real meetings. If I find you a buyer, can we split the deal? And most of them said no. Most of them, like myself, get calls like that every single day, and then they never hear from these people again. So they come from a very skeptical place. But I was just persistent, and I stayed at it. And I met a wholesaler named Chris. He was like, yeah, sure, but he didn't really pay me much mind. Kind of, I wouldn't say blew me off, but just like, if you do, you do. But I'm not holding my breath. And I basically took his property and I went to Craigslist. And it's not like I just posted this thing once. Like, I was posting this thing constantly, over and over and over, and everywhere I could, everywhere that was free, anything I could, I was advertising. I was getting a lot of calls, and then I was working at the time. So whether I was, on my lunch break, my 15-minute break, every chance I got, I was calling people. Yeah, this property's great. You got to go see it. And eventually, I ended up getting a buyer to go over there. He wanted the property, and then we split that deal. Ended up selling to him and split the deal. But the point here is that, like, you got to be hungry. You got to be aggressive. You got to think about it like, instead of whining to everyone who's doing this about, like, oh, I can't do this. I need some kind of handout. It's like if somebody had, I don't know, someone had your kid and they were like, look, get a deal under contract by the end of the week or I'm going to kill your kid. Like, you wouldn't fucking think about all the shit you don't have. You would just be like, all right, like, how am I going to do this? And you might hit up every resource you have. I don't know, you might start a GoFundMe page or talk to everybody and go crazy because you're that desperate for it. And I know that's a very extreme example, but again, that's really what you need. You got to just want it so bad. So when people say no cash, no credit, and you can do this, you absolutely can. But understand, like, that desire's got to be there, and that passion and that want, like, you got to just really fucking want it that badly, where you're willing to go to extremes, and dedicate all your time. If it means you can't watch TV or you can't go out or whatever, like, that's how bad you got to want it. And if you make that sacrifice in the beginning, it will get a lot easier. And also, you should be glad that it's that difficult in the beginning, where there's at least that barrier of entry, because the fact of the matter is most people won't do that. And if it was easier, then you'd have a lot more competition. This probably would not be a lucrative business. So be grateful for the fact that you do have to kind of have that hustle and that desire and that want. Know that it's temporary, so it's not like, oh man, I can never go out again, I can never watch my favorite show again. It's like, hey, I'm gonna DVR Game of Thrones this season or some shit, or only watch it on certain days. So, that's just my advice right there. Again, you could take that example, get on other wholesalers list, call them, even if you don't do anything, call them every single week and say, look, I'm still here. I still want this. And like, I'm going to be successful. You could be a part of it and you could make money off of me, because who's going to say no to that? Or you could not. And so there you go. That's one way to do this. But now let's jump into what I'm going to show you right here, and this works. And if you don't have, it's just no excuses. Like, stop thinking of what you don't have. You don't have a computer, go to the library, find a friend, like figure this shit out, and to some degree you've got to be creative. Like, your brain's more powerful than you think, so think creatively and I don't know, figure it out, come up with some stuff. Anyway, go to Google. Let's make this like a simple step by step. Type in Zillow. And the reason we're going to Zillow here, let me explain. Take a step back for a second. Now, traditionally, we're taught to go for distressed sellers. So these are sellers who don't want to sell. They have to sell. They need to sell because of some life circumstance. They either have to move, financial difficulty, divorcees, people going through evictions, tired landlords, things like that. You probably know all these things. But in addition to going after distressed sellers, which typically you need either some money to do some marketing or networking that you can do for free, for the most part. But in addition to going for distressed sellers, you can also go after distressed properties. So these are properties that are physically distressed. They need rehab. They need some kind of repair. They're vacant. They've got grass growing everywhere and tarps on the roof, all kind of damage. Now, I hear people say, well, my buyers don't want anything on the MLS, or maybe there's no deals on the MLS. Well, I mean, you can believe that if you want, but my buyers, they want things that they can make money off of, right? So they don't give a shit where you got it from, as long as you didn't do it illegally or unethically. If they can make money, they don't care if it came off the MLS. They don't care where it came from. As long as you have the contract, you're the only one who can give it to them and they can make some money off of it. Those are the properties that they want. So if you don't have any money starting, I'm going to suggest that rather than focus on the distressed sellers, that you go ahead and focus on distressed properties. And these are easy to find, driving for dollars, stuff like that. But right here on Zillow, what you can do is just search a given area. So I'm up here in Palm Beach, so let's do Palm Beach. And the cool thing, you can search by county. You don't even need to search by city. So Palm Beach County, Florida, for sale. Here's some previous criteria. I had 20 to 200K, 2+ bedrooms. I want to make sure we're looking for houses only, right? But here's where the money is. It's right here in the keywords. So for keywords, you can put stuff. I mean, think of things. Be creative. Come up with some of this stuff yourself that would be indicative of a property that needs, work. So like hole in roof, fire damage is a good one. I mean, TLC is a great one. That's the realtor speak for, like, needs TLC is realtor speak for, like, this place is fucked up and it needs a shitload of work. Mold, termite damage, must buy as is, liens, violations, things like that. So, I mean, all you got to do, you can pop in the keyword here, fire, I don't know. And then you'll see everything in Palm Beach County with fire damage will come up. Now, granted, some of them might say fireplace or stuff like that. So, yeah, you do have to comb through and go through some of these. But at the same time, like I said before, be a little bit grateful that it takes some amount of effort, or everyone would do, or your cash buyers would do it when they got home from work and they wouldn't need you. So, and again, if you zoom out, you can see, I can see everywhere on here where this keyword exists. If you zoom in, sometimes even more stuff pops up as you zoom in, right? So, I mean, you can just start clicking around and see. Property won't last long, regular sale. And then just start reading some of the details. And sure, like, you'll hit a lot of stuff that doesn't match, but, sit there and do this for a little while. TLC, bam, there they are right there. Short sale needs TLC. I mean, that could be a great match for you right there. Let's see what some of the other ones look like. We just read, blah, 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 blah. Some TLC needed. Cash only. Needs new roof beams, roof, and updated electric. So, okay, that looks like a great, one, right? So check this out. All you'll do is you'll expand it just to get a general idea. It's 129. We're going to scroll down. Similar homes for sale. It's not as important. What you want to really look at is the nearby similar sales to get a feel. So right now it doesn't look like a great discount, but if it needs that stuff, sometimes they start this stuff high and you talk them down. So then what you want to do is call the, you'll see the agents come up here. There'll usually be a number of them. And you don't want the premier agent or just agent. You want to make sure it's the listing agent. I did a whole video on why, so you need to watch that. It's a lot to go into. But then you're going to contact the listing agent. This one, I'm actually working on a deal with this particular agent, so I'm not going to call this one right this moment. So yeah, let's go back and let's look at some other stuff. Cash only. It's another one. Bang. Now be careful. This one, if you see cash or hard money only, it's probably another wholesaler. But worst case, call them. See if you can do like a joint venture deal, right? So, bang. Okay, and again, read till you find, something that looks like a good match for you. Oh, that's the one we just looked at. Like where, and look, as you scroll, more of this stuff will pop up. So this is an area I usually like here. Let's see. And if you just hover over, you can see some of the price points. And I know what areas, when you know your target market, you kind of know what price points your buyers like to buy at. Oh, 49K. What is this? Needs a complete rehab, but will cash flow for years to come. Now, a lot of my buyers are not huge fans of the wood frame, which you can see going on here. But I mean, for 49,000, and if you can get it less than that, you will find a buyer. So again, we got premier agent, premier agent, premier agent. We want to find the listing agent. So listed created by the owner right here. So there's the number. You can go ahead and call that owner. All right, so I might do that in just a second. But let's go ahead and keep looking. Okay, 85K. This is good. There you go. These are some other keywords you could use. Handyman, rehabber. So that's actually really good. I like this area of Boynton Beach a lot. Calling all builders, handyman, and rehabbers. Needs to be cash only. All right, so what I can do here, like I said, let's expand. Let's get to know a little bit about this property, right? So, okay, here we see it says listing agent. So that's the person you want to call, not these other agents. And briefly, maybe I won't make you watch that whole video, but essentially when something's listed, if you have a buyer's agent and bring them into the deal, that listing agent has to split the commission. So they're much more likely, even if they're supposed to take all offers, if you're coming directly to them, this is how they feed their family. They're much more likely to try and push your offer through. And when they get properties in the future, since you're bringing them a full commission, they're more likely to call you first before dealing with everyone else. So it even goes a little bit deeper than that, but those are the main reasons. So, okay, for sale, we're at 85. Let's look at some of these similar sales. Okay, doesn't look too great, but it's kind of irrelevant. People can ask whatever they want to ask. At the end of the day, if it's not selling for that, 42 days on Zillow, you try and negotiate. So, not too many pictures here, but let's take a look at some of these pictures. Wow. So, I mean, if you think, look at this property, you think this can't be a potential deal for a cash buyer or rehabber? If you can get it at a low enough price, they'll take this in a heartbeat. And here you got a potential to make 10 grand, at least probably, on something like this. So the next thing you want to do, contact the agent. Now, sure, you could email and all that stuff if you want, but agents get hundreds, if not thousands of emails a day. You want to be successful in this business. You want to be hungry. You want to be aggressive. You want to be time sensitive and operate with a sense of urgency. And you want to get deals. I'm telling you, call. Call, call, call. Every time you email, every time you text, okay, that's okay for following up. If you want to make money, especially off of listed properties, call. I'm not a phone person, but I'm a money person, so I'll call. All right, so let's go ahead and do this real quick. Change your life. My favorite drink. You need to start mind, body, keep it all healthy. kombucha. Got fermented tea. It's got your probiotics, your good bacteria, and it tastes amazing. Okay. What are we doing? We are going to call listing agent. My name is Mike Hill. I'm giving you a call about one of your properties I found listed online over in Boynton Beach.
Yeah, that one went under contract, huh?
Oh, it did that. It's 20, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you accepting backups by chance?
What?
Are you accepting backups by chance?
Yes, but I'm going to take it off the market soon. Anyway, I'm going to put it pending, and then I usually just put it back on if something happens. But it's all cash, no contingency, so I doubt that something's going to have a problem.
Okay.
But
Gotcha.
what I wanted to say is that, are you looking for something like that, or?
I am. Actually, I'm finishing up. I'm a rehabber, so I'm finishing up one over on Northwest 4th. We're probably putting that back on the market within 2 weeks or so, and I'd like to ideally pick up something very similar. You know, I was looking at not too many pictures, but this one looks like a uh, complete rehab job. It is a little bit higher than I was looking for based on what it looks like those repairs are. I mean, the offer you got, is that close to list?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it looks a little bit high based on those repairs, but in any event, yeah, I am looking for something like that, and it would be
Well, I
cash
have
purchase.
I found some different things out there. What is your name and number? Let me see if I can send you some stuff.
That'd be great. My name is Mike.
Mm-hmm.
My number 561. And if I could give you my email as well.
Okay. Now, let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
What areas do you typically want to stay in? Can you go up north, or?
We can. Right now, I'm finding that the like inventory is getting kind of scarce, so we're a little bit more open to venturing out a bit. But I do like that Boynton Beach area. We've done a couple of things there. That's probably the ideal spot. Lake Worth is cool. I'd like to stay out of the alphabet if possible. But I mean, if the price is right, it's not a definite no. Probably the only definite no probably be like some of the rougher areas of Riviera Beach, because again, we're looking to fix up and flip. But Delray, like all those areas, you know, ideally like to keep it under 150, but you know, there's space to go above. Again, it would be cash. And then the only other things I would like, ideally for CBS. If it's frame, we'll take a look. If it's on a concrete slab, we'll look at it. But ideally, I'd like to see CBS.
Well, I think I saw something in Delray that I liked. There, I have an idea on what to do.
Okay.
It's not disclosed on the listing, but when I looked at it, I was like, this shouldn't be a house. It should be something different. And then the same thing with Riviera. I saw a house today in Riviera Beach. Now, it was the east side of Riviera Beach, not the west side. So we're talking about east of Dixie, one block west of Federal.
Okay.
Whole different ball of wax over there, you know?
Okay.
The place is kind of...
I probably need like the cross streets, because it's like, man, that area is rough. You know, you're driving through 1 minute, you're like, hey, you know, this is not too bad.
No,
You turn the block and
we're
it's like,
about like,
get the hell out of here.
We're talking about like 28th and E. So it's like one block west of Federal Highway.
1 block
Just
west.
west of Federal Highway.
Okay.
So it's very east. Yeah,
okay.
Very east. I happen to like those streets. I mean, I have a lot of money invested in Riviera Beach, but I like the east much, much better.
Yeah, they're doing some things there. There's a lot of yeah, a lot of business and stuff popping up. Yeah, that area is not bad. Okay.
Well, because here's what's happening. Okay. Palm Beach County is getting to be very expensive. So the only city left a person could actually buy anything under 150,000 and make it and have it, something decent is Riviera Beach. It's getting to be that point,
Yeah, I mean,
or
it's
under
so
a hundred
close to the
thousand.
water. It's probably just a matter of
Yeah.
time.
So
Yeah.
this one's very close. This one's very close to the water. It's a good location, but in my mind, it shouldn't be a house.
Mm.
It should be converted to a duplex.
Okay.
Shouldn't be a house at
It's
all.
not a bad problem
So,
to
and
have.
like I have a little bit, yeah. So this is what I'm saying. Like you're gonna buy it as a house, but you have to go in thinking, I'm gonna double, maybe even double and a half the value of this property by converting it into a multifamily.
Okay.
I
Is
mean,
that
I
one
have a
block?
little bit outside the box thinking
No, that's
when I
good.
look at stuff.
That's
Yeah,
good.
so those are things that I'm kind of thinking. So let me get some lists together for you,
Okay.
and I will get it over to you. Um, I think I saw some other stuff. I saw something else in Delray, the same thing. It was framed. There's another house in Boynton too. Kind of wanted a little much for it, but it's in a good location. It's the same like this 20th Street that's just framed out. So I'm looking into some interesting options. So let me see what else I come up with,
Okay.
and let me email you.
All right. That'd be
Okay?
fantastic. Look
Thanks,
forward to hearing
bye.
from you.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye bye. Okay, so unfortunately, this particular one wasn't available at the moment. Now, what I should have done on that call is say, listen, um, if this falls through, call me first. Call me first. Why? Because I'm not working with a listing agent. You get full commission. I'm paying cash, and I'm an efficient closer. I close fast as fuck. Like basically, call me first. Please call me first. This is what I should have done. I don't know if it's the camera or something, but in any event, I didn't. But I will call her to follow up and just say, listen, thanks for helping me out earlier. I just wanted to remind you, I really like this property. Please, 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 if it falls out of contract, call me first, and I can make you an offer. I can close on it quickly. I'll do my inspection, and I'll let you know within a day. Like I pride myself on being the easiest buyer for you to ever work with, and just like sell yourself a little bit. Now, again, you saw me. Look, it took us how long to go to Zillow and look at those properties? Like 2 minutes. And then to look at each one and read the descriptions, like 30 seconds a piece. And then you make a call like this. Okay, I was on the phone for maybe 2 minutes or so, and it didn't work out. Now, if you make that call once a day, you're going to get a deal? Probably not. 2 times a day, 3, 4, 5, probably not. But each of the, okay, so now we're invested a total of 10, 20 minutes. Okay, now let's say we made 50 calls. You start to get some stuff under contract, right? And then by the time, let's say maybe you make 100 calls, it's like, damn, that seems like 100, but 100 calls at 2 minutes a piece, 200 minutes. Like we're talking 3, 4 hours worth of work. You will make a deal, and let's say your deal nets you 10 grand. Okay, well, yeah, I was on the phone for uh, 5 hours total, right? And again, you could break this up into different days if you're working a full-time job or something, right? So I'm on the phone, total work time, 5 hours. I got rejected 99 times. Fuck, man, that sucks. But I got one deal. 99 times it didn't work. One time it worked. And that one time netted me 10,000. Now, what does it cost time? Fuck yeah, it takes time. Like that's what I told you in the beginning. Does it take any money? No, it's not taking money. Maybe your phone bill, but I'm sure you have that already. And like I said, go to the library, use the internet, get a Skype account, do whatever you have to do. But the point I'm making here is if you stick with it and you can deal with you have a relatively high tolerance for rejection, and you can just keep going. Like, yeah, I didn't even make this isn't something that could be a deal, but you'd be surprised how much shit falls out of contract. So that's why I need to call her back and tell her to call me first and really sell that in case this does fall out, which is a good chance it might because this property looks really, really bad. But look, she's gonna send me some leads. She'd probably send me 4 or 5 leads, and then those could turn into deals too. And if I close on one of those and she does make her full commission, the next time she gets something like that, she's gonna send it to me first. So imagine every time I make one of these calls, even if I don't get it, I might get a return on that phone call, a month from now, 2 months from now. Now imagine I have 20, 30, 40, 50 realtors doing that for me. And now they all calling and bringing me leads, and I get to screen them and pick out the best ones for my buyers. So I'm actually doing a lot of listed properties these days. Like on average, the non-listed things that come from motivated sellers do tend to give me larger profits. Some of these I may only make like 2, 3, 4, 5 grand on, um, because I'm playing in a fairly competitive market. But at the same time, I can do a lot more of those. I can do them in volume. So typically your deals might be like three here, four, five, five, and then you'll get a bigger one like 10, 12, and then then you'll get a bunch of small ones and a big one. Um, but the point I'm making here is that if you are consistent and you keep doing this and you stick at it, by just making call after call after call, you can do this business. You can make your money by investing time, yes, but without money. Once you make that first deal, I would recommend, instead of going out fucking making it rain and spending that shit everywhere, invest it back into your business. Then at that point, you could get some bandit signs. Then you could get some, do some direct mail marketing, and then you still keep making your phone calls. And then you make another one, put it into your business. Next thing you know, now you got the both sides of your market covered: distressed sellers as well as distressed properties. Hey, me again. Um, I forgot to mention a couple of things during the initial recording, so I just want to come back and mention a few things here. Now, when I first made this phone call, the property was unavailable, so I kind of had to switch gears, and we instead ended up talking about potential deals, which is good. But a couple things. Number one, I want to make sure that I follow up with this agent, not only on this property, because like I said, a lot of these things fall out of contract for a number of reasons, but also on any potential deals in the future. And number one, she was an investor herself. So she mentioned she owns some property, so that's good. Number two, she seemed to know the target market and kind of what's going on, so that's another good sign. Number three, she just was, very nice. She had a good just disposition about herself, and she was receptive to working with me. And you will find that agents, they don't really fit in the box. They're huge spectrum. You're going to meet all kind of people. Some of them will be nasty, some will be impatient, some will be incompetent, some of them will not like working with investors, some of them are just very slow in getting back to you and things like that. So when you do meet someone that kind of, you feel a good vibe, even just off of a quick phone call, you do want to continuously follow up with them. And that means that it goes on my calendar and my Noseby. Every 30 days, just give this person a call and just say, hey, this is Mike, anything new? That's all you need to say. I can also set up a series of autoresponders as well to shoot her an email. And then every 30 days, hey, this is Mike. Remember we spoke, anything available. And that's it. It's really very simple. You can set that up, within 10 minutes to go for the next year to keep following up via email. And again, make your calls as well. But the money really is in the follow-up. So that's one thing I wanted to mention. The next thing I wanted to mention is that had this property been available, I would have needed to ask a series of questions to do two things. Number one, to show that I'm an experienced investor and I know what I'm doing. And number two, to just kind of give myself some credibility, but also present my USP. So your unique selling proposition. So you're selling yourself. So the way I would have gone about it, yes, this is available. Okay, well, can you tell me a little bit about the property? Can you tell me about the repairs needed? And this shows, I'm a serious investor. I need to get my numbers straight. And I'm also getting information because when I'm selling this to my end buyers, those are the same questions that they're going to be asking me. They're going to be asking me, what are the repairs like? And it'd be good for me to know that information so I can then pass it on to them. Next, I'll ask stuff like, to your knowledge, does this property have any liens or violations? Again, that's something that's pretty important to making your offer, but also it shows that, again, you know what you're doing. That's not necessarily a question that a novice, maybe wholesaler or something, that's going to pick up the phone on day one and ask about open permits, liens, and violations. And the good thing, if you are a novice wholesaler, you don't really need to know any of that shit. Whatever answer they give you, it's just like, okay. But again, it just shows that you're knowledgeable, and then you can just ask some other questions about the area or stuff like that, or more so, you kind of want to come off actually as if you know the area. So it depends. You got to be a little bit specific with those questions. But the other thing you might want to ask is about the seller, about their situation and their disposition. And you can even mention, if you, again, you should know your target market. But let's say, for example, you don't know it as well as you should. You can look right there on Zillow at the same time and say, hey, well, I saw these 3 comps a block down and they're selling for the same price, but this one needs a new roof. So, and then you can get some other information there and sound like you know what you're talking about at the same time. As far as getting information about the seller, you should ask them very matter-of-factly, very straightforward, and expectantly, look, I saw those 3 comps. They're asking what you're asking, but this one needs a shitload of repairs. what's the lowest price the seller's going to take? Like, what's the seller's bottom line? Like, let's not waste any time. You know, what is it? Or another thing, like, agents are not supposed to disclose to you the other offers or what they're worth. But sometimes when you come out and it won't always work. Again, they're all different people you deal with. Some are very straight arrow. But you can say to them, for example, like, look, I know you can't tell me exactly what the offers is, but give me a ballpark. Or, and that's only if they give you pushback. But before saying that, if there's no pushback, I say, look, let's just be straight. Give it to me straight. What number do I need to be at this? What number do I need to be at to get the property? Period. And you'd be surprised how often they'll just tell you, they'll give you a number, 80 grand. So that's another thing that you can do. Then from there, like I said, give your USP, and that's where you've got to sell yourself. And you say, hey, look, I'm coming to you directly because you're the listing agent. I'm not working with a buyer's agent, so I know how the commission goes. You can keep the whole thing. And I prefer to work that way because, in the future, I plan on doing X amount of rehabs a month, a year, whatever you want to say. And it'd be great if I could buy multiple times from you. I pride myself on being very fast, very efficient. As soon as I have clean title, I can close the very next day. I'm paying all cash, and you kind of make it sound good. Let them know why they should pick you. If this person's got 10 different offers or people who are asking her for the property, why should she come to you and say, hey, Mike, I got this. I'm letting you know before anyone else. I mean, think about it. As a wholesaler, you're gonna give before I send my e-blast out, I call my best buyers. I say, hey, I'm about to put this out. Do you want it? And there's a reason for that. But you can actually establish that before you ever buy from a listing agent, just by being confident in yourself, your skills, and telling them very directly over the phone why they should deal with you. And then finally, you want to say, okay, hey, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to do my due diligence, my initial due diligence. If I want to send you an offer, where can I send it? And you make sure you get that email address, which is very important. From there, you want to make sure you email over a written contract, preferably on the realtor approved contract in your state. Again, I got a whole video on that one, so watch it. And then from there, you email it, and then you follow up with a phone call. Did you get it? What's the seller saying? Where are we at? What's the deal? And you keep doing that for months, for weeks, for months, until it closes. But again, get that email address, and then you can also set up, like I said, regular emails or even an autoresponder email where you check in ever so often to see, hey, got anything new? But again, you want to ask those questions about the property. You want to sell yourself a little bit. You want to get the email so you can follow up and ideally send over an offer. So those are things I forgot to mention. And from here, we'll cut back into the rest of the video. See if I have any parting thoughts. I always ramble at the end, but no, I think that's it, man. It's just really form a habit. Again, don't just try to do this once a month. Even if you can make 10 calls a day, if you just do that religiously and stick to it. Again, some other things I want to point out that I mentioned earlier: don't just rely on email, don't rely on text. Make it personal. Sell yourself when you get on the phone. And like I said, even when I said you might make 100 phone calls to get a deal, as you get comfortable on the phone, as you know your target market and what your buyers want, talk to other wholesalers, see what they're doing, network, connect, throw out everything. You'll probably start getting deals with less than 100 calls. But I'm just showing you because a lot of people will say, like, Mike, I'm calling and it doesn't work. And then I say, well, I've been calling for a month and I don't have anything. And I say, how many calls did you make in the last month? Like 6, 10, maybe 20. I don't even know if most people do more than 20. And then I'm like, nah, do like 20 a day. Like, make 100 calls like that and then tell me. So yes, I did do my ramble, but let me know how it works, man. You can't do this no cash, no credit. Make some money, reinvest it, and then it gets a lot easier. So I'm gonna go do some more of this stuff, and hopefully I'll do some recording and put this stuff up here. Again, leave me your questions, comments, and take care of your body. Drink some of the good stuff. Thanks, guys.